Today I want to talk about something which is so important for your game, but no one talks about this. It's something that every golfer does, every golfer should do, but how you do it can make the difference between you being a high handicapper who's struggling and potentially, let's say, even an elite tour pro. What are we talking about? And let's go through it. You can see I've got this little device which is attached to my belt. It is actually a golf training device, but you can just get a little bit creative, and it's got a little red ball on the end of it. So as I take a setup to this, I've got a 7-iron here. Notice how that ball is in contact with my trail elbow. That's just my normal setup, but you can see it's in contact with my elbow. Now, if I just simply go to impact, what we're going to see is that ball is still in contact with my elbow, but it's actually just on the inside. So it just goes from the outside to the inside. But at setup and impact, my trail elbow is going to be in contact with that ball. And if it's not, well, then I'm probably not making contact with the ball. So if we're going to make contact with the ball, the elbow has to be in touch. Fine, let's go through why that is important. What happens in the backswing? Well, we make a nice backswing. This is my attempt at a perfect backswing. Let's see how close we get. As you can see, quite clearly, my elbow is now not in contact with that ball. It's lifted, it's raised. So in my backswing, and in your backswing, and in everybody's backswing, we have a body pivot, rotation, whatever you want to call that, and we have some arm lift. Now in your golf swing, there will be arm lift. In everybody's golf swing, there will be arm lift. Yes, some are going to do it more than others, but it's there and it's present in every single golf swing. So what goes up must come down. Your arms in the downswing have to lower because they need to be back in contact with this device at impact. But how they lower can basically make or break your golf swing. It can be the difference between you hitting great golf shots and you really struggling. So what would happen if my arms lowered and sort of reconnected with this little device super late in my downswing? Well, they raise and lift and we make a rotation. That distance hasn't really narrowed yet. And if I now start to close that gap and move my elbow towards that device, I will make contact. It probably won't be great contact. And you can see that the golf club is moving very much from the outside across the golf ball. And it's probably going to be quite steep as well. And if I'm doing that with a club with relatively low loft, you know, maybe even the driver, I'm going to have a pretty harsh reaction to that. I'm going to find that I either push myself out the way, I buckle my arms, I maybe just get really uncomfortable. And this is a 7-iron. We are going to touch driver later on in the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. It is a little bit different with the driver. So what about if the arms go down very early? Well, you can see I've regained contact, but actually the club's probably a little bit too far behind my hands. And what this would mean is it means I'm probably going to swing too much out to the right, and I'm probably going to be quite shallow. That's, again, not great with an iron. The lowering of the arms is something that so many golfers would benefit from if they did it correctly. So what we're looking for is a nice blend, a body rotation and a lowering of the arms. Body rotation, lowering of the arms. And what happens is we get into this position here where you can see I've regained contact, but look where that club is. Perfect. Absolutely bang in line with the club that's on the ground. Club head is in line with my hands. And then from here, I can just maintain that contact, rotate through, and I get this absolutely perfect impact position where the device is on the inside of my elbow. This is going to be an absolutely brilliant training aid for you because you can just go up to the top, don't worry about what your backswing looks or feels like, but reconnect, and then you can just go ahead and turn that through and actually hit a little golf shot. And whilst that wasn't the best strike in the world, it's gone pretty straight, and I know that my delivery was pretty good. The one that you need to guard against, the one that's going to give most golfers the most trouble, is when it gets this way. And that connection happens far too late in the downswing, and the club chops across the golf ball. The big stick, the driver, could well be different with the driver. Let's go through why. And it's often due to maybe just how you think and approach the golf club. We've spoken a little bit about how this influences the attack angle. With the irons, we want that kind of descending blow. With the driver, we kind of really want that upward hit. So if I'm connecting my arm to this device very late in my golf swing, arms are staying high, coming down late, I'm always going to be chopping across it. And how many golfers have I seen over the years who hit down, who chop across it, who slice it, who really struggle for distance, who say to me, it feels horrible and cramped through impact. In almost all of those cases, it's the hands and the arms lowering far too late. And it could stem from the way that we think about the golf swing. You know, how many times have I heard golfers saying things like, you know, from the top of the swing, you just turn through and you let the arms follow. You don't. The arms go up and they go down. You have to put the down in. They're not going to go down on their own. They will eventually, but you have to put that down in. So if you don't get this right with the driver, you're going to be hitting down, you're going to be cutting across, you're going to be losing distance, you're probably going to be losing golf balls as well. So with the driver, if we're looking for a slightly more upward hit, it kind of makes sense that we almost want to try and get that down a little bit sooner. Because you can see as I get it down sooner and I re-establish that contact, the club head is probably slightly more behind my hands. And what that means is I'm more likely to swing up and I'm more likely to swing out to the right. And that is a great recipe for hitting high draws that probably go a little bit further. If I wanted to stand here and hit a fade, I would leave my arms as high as I can, I would rotate, and I would feel like my arms come down later. That's what so many golfers do as their natural swing. And it's very often because they've never been told you need to lower your arms. So with a driver, you're going to tee it up, and you're just going to basically try and do the same thing, but you might want to feel that you connect it a little sooner. If you connect it a little sooner, you should be able to hit high draws.